Let me ask you a question. What if the single biggest threat to your long-term health isn't in that burger you ate or even in a pack of cigarettes, but it's actually hiding in plain sight, in the people you talk to every single day? Okay, so check this out. For decades, researchers have been tracking thousands of people trying to figure out what really shortens our lives. And the results, well, they're pretty mind-blowing. It turns out that the negative health impact from chronic, long-term relationship conflict is worse than being an alcoholic, and it's even deadlier than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I mean, just let that sink in. So how on earth can an argument with someone be more dangerous than a known carcinogen?
Well, it turns out the damage starts deep inside you, on a completely silent battlefield, your immune system. This is our body's primary line of defense, and that stress from our relationships, it targets it directly. Now, the science behind all this has a pretty long name: psychoneuroimmunology. It's basically the study of how your mind, your nervous system, and your immune system are all talking to each other. But here's the key. When scientists in this field talk about the psycho part, you might think they mean general stress, right? Nope. They're almost exclusively focused on our social lives, our relationships. To really get why our relationships have this much power, you first have to see your body for what it is: a non-stop, 24/7 cell-making factory. It is constantly rebuilding itself from the inside out.
I mean, just think about your red blood cells. You have more of them than any other cell in your body, and their average lifespan, it's only about 90 days. So yeah, some of your bone cells might be a few years old, but a huge part of your body is literally newer than the phone in your pocket.
And this whole rebuilding process happens on a daily cycle. Every single day, your body is churning out billions of new cells. But, it's a high-speed process, and it's not perfect. It makes thousands of mistakes, replication errors. And these errors are essentially rogue cells. You could even call them potentially cancerous cells. And this isn't some rare disease. This happens to every single one of us every single day of our lives.
So, the multi-million-dollar question is, what happens next? In a healthy person, your immune system, led by these amazing things called T cells and natural killer cells, acts like a super effective surveillance team. It patrols your body, finds these faulty cells, and just destroys them while you sleep. But when you're under the constant grinding stress of relationship conflict, that surveillance team, it gets weakened, it gets tired, it starts to miss things. And those cells that it misses, well, they can get a foothold and start to grow.
And here's a really critical distinction to make. The research is clear. It's not the stress of having a heavy workload that does the most damage. It's the arguments with your boss, or a fight with a colleague, or tension with your partner about the work. That's what truly shuts down our immune defenses. It's the friction between people. But that's just one front in this battle. The immune system is only half the story. Relationship conflict also launches a direct assault on, well, the heart of the matter, your cardiovascular system. We usually think it works like this. We feel an emotion, and then our body reacts. But a lot of the time, the science shows it's actually the other way around. Take a look at this loop. Some negative thought gets triggered. Instantly, your brain's little alarm system, the amygdala, hits the panic button, activating a physical stress response. Your heart starts pounding, your muscles get tight, and it's only then that your conscious brain picks up on these physical signals and says, "Oh, I must be feeling anxious," or "I must be angry."
To put it another way, you don't just feel anxious out of the blue. You feel anxious because your body is already in a physical state of anxiety. The emotion we feel is just our brain's best guess. It's the story our mind tells us about what our body is already going through.
And if you need proof of how real this connection is, just look at how doctors sometimes treat anxiety. One of the most common prescriptions isn't some psychiatric drug. It's a heart medication, like Inderal. Why? Simple. It physically slows your heart rate down. And when your heart stops racing, your body sends a new signal up to the brain that says, "Hey, all clear down here." And just like that, the conscious feeling of anxiety starts to fade. A calm body literally signals a calm mind. Okay, so we've seen how this constant conflict can weaken our immune system and stress out our heart. It's a pretty sobering picture, right? But there is a powerful way to fight back. So let's talk about the solution. A concept from Professor Kim Ju-hwan that he calls mind-muscle.
So what is it exactly? Well, mind-muscle, or mam-gunyak in Korean, is basically your inner resilience. Think of it as the mental and emotional strength that lets you handle that destructive conflict, helps you regulate your body's automatic stress response, and allows you to actively protect your own health. It's a skill you can build.
And building this internal strength has some pretty incredible payoffs.
First, it obviously bolsters your mental health. But as we've just seen, it also directly improves your physical health, shielding your immune and cardiovascular systems from all that damage. And hey, as a nice bonus, it also enhances your performance, helping you achieve more in pretty much every area of your life.
Which really brings us to one final critical question. Many of us spend a lot of time and energy building our physical muscles at the gym. But how much time do we dedicate to building the one muscle that protects us from one of the greatest hidden threats to our health? So really ask yourself, how strong is your mind muscle?